Hey, it's Fat Man from the Holler here, and I'm going to show you guys the simplest way of making broadheads out of metal canned food cans. All you have to do is wash them up, peel the paper off of them, and I already have some pieces I pre-cut. And if you look at this bottom one right here, it's not very perfection cut. It's been a while since I've done this, but you put the slit in this bottom one, and then you put the slit in the top one, and then when it's time, all you have to do is this right here, and you can slide them right back together. You just slide, all you do is you slide the slits together, and then you have your arrow. And then once you get it to where you want it, you can adjust it around for a proper fit, which ain't too hard sometimes. You gotta be careful too so you don't cut your hand, because just because you think it's canned food, it ain't gonna be sharp. But guess what? It can be just as sharp as anything else, and as you can see, you can bend it however you want it. And guess what? When you're done, this one's a little bit rough and a little flimsy, and the cut ain't the greatest, but you can see here's what you have when you're done. Here's the first one I built tonight just for fun. It slides apart like so, and then you put your slit on your bottom piece, you put your top slit on the opposite side, and then when you're done, here's what you do. Very simple. You just slide them together like so. You just slide it together, and it takes a little bit of working with it, and you gotta be careful you don't get cut, because you can get cut pretty seriously. Probably not horribly bad, but you can get cut enough to where you ain't gonna be enjoying it, and you might possibly get stitches. So it might be a good idea for some people that got soft hands to use gloves, because I don't use gloves. I've been cut over bazillions of times to the bone and etc. And I have a high endurance to pain. But here's what you do, is you work it. As you work it, you see, there's what you have. You have your arrow. It don't take much, and guess what? I thought about a couple things about this. I thought about you could lay this on a piece of wood and see all these ripples, all these little ripples or dimples or whatever you want to call it. You could take a hammer and beat them out, but I'd say in a certain category, just by knowing projectiles and where they fly, is you might want to leave them in there, and you can take these little corners and you can shift them in like this. You know, if you want to bend them, you can bend them a little bit, just because, you know, when you're doing fletching, even ancient times, you want your fletching to be able to fly, and you probably work it quite a bit, and you can get it as straight as you want it, and you can bend it here and there, and it's flexible, and it's not too bad, and it's really very simple. And all you have to do is take the top of a canned food can, and you can cut it in quarters or sections however you want. And if you want to be precise, you can take a marker and you can cut here like that. You can take a marker and draw it on, and then all you gotta do is take a pair of tin snips or metal cutter, pair of metal pliers, and you just cut it. I use them. You gotta be careful with metal cutters, because they'll cut through you like butter. But it's very simple how I make them. And I cut piles of canned food, because I want to do this. I usually like to make a few, you see. But anyway, that's Fat Man from the Holler on making DIY arrows out of nothing. And you can make them different sizes. You can adjust them. You can see sometimes it wants to shift around here and there. But it ain't hard to do. It's just, it'll come, the more you do it, the more you'll figure it out. And I mean, there's a pretty decent one. And I mean, it ain't the greatest, but if you're using a DIY survival situation to where you had to have something to hunt with, you could probably, all you have to do is, you see how this is right here, what you want to do is take a stick and cut an X in it where you can slide this piece in. And then if you know anything about fletching on the back of a wood dowel, how the wood dowel is round, you take a piece of metal, if you had to, and you scrape it down and put a notch in it, and then you take a feather, slit it down the middle, and shape and you cut it at an angle. And I'll do a video on fletching. Fletching requires a clamp, and all you got to do is you put it in the clamp and you cut it down the center and you shave it, and then you cut it at an angle and you set your fletchings in your, you can use a wood dowel to do this, and you have to set them offset so it'll actually propel like a spiral, like when throwing a football. There's a little bit more to archery and making broadheads than people think, because one of the people that I really seen did a lot for archery was Fred Bear. But if you look back at all the people of history, they had ballistas, they had archers, you have Mongolians, Native Americans, you've had archery all over the world, all the way to the Knights of the Round Table. But nowadays it's not effective much, because you know people got guns and bombs and explosives and all that. But just say all that stuff was gone and you're just a guy out in the woods trying to eat, you can make a DIY arrow out of not much, because you ate your canned food is gone, you need some meat so you can have some protein so you don't die. This ain't a movie, this is actually a real thing that could happen. You take your canned food, and if you got a pair of pliers or a knife or what have you, you can cut it down to make you an arrow. And you can turn this on, you can put a stick through this, try to find the stick, this semi-smooth or whatever, and you can make a spear, or you can make a snare. You can make about anything out of this for hunting to be able to survive. But anyways, Fat Man from the Holler, I'm sure I'll probably get some negative criticism, but you know, that's YouTube. I ain't perfect and I ain't God. I just do these videos for fun. I like to teach people a few new things, and you know, it don't take a lot to have fun, and you can do it as a hobby or off the grid thing or whatever your category of interest is. But thank you for watching my video, and if you like the video, like and subscribe, and I'll continue doing a few more videos on off the grid type scenarios. I might do a couple videos on taking old lawnmower blades and turn them into knives, and taking old skill saw blades and turn them into throwing stars and knives, which requires very little, just mainly a pop ribbit gun, a piece of wood, and not a whole lot of skill. But thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.